But of course you realize that doesn't happen on the spot because somebody has to hire a crane and pay for it, and somebody has to break that crane, and somebody has to go up on top of that cherry picker and shoot that leg down through there. And I'm always suspicious of whenever I hear stories about so-called improvisations and things that are done on the spot. It does occur, but it is really quite rare. All of the broad strokes have to be done in advance. And when they talk about improvisations in terms of dialogue, usually what they're talking about is rehearsals, where it all changed in rehearsals. But very, very rarely does it actually change that much. It always changes a little bit on the set, you know. And unless, of course, you have a situation where you can shut down the set and start rewriting.
Other question?
Yes, I want to go back to that remarkable scene in the Paramount that you shot on the set. There seems to be something mysterious happening there that I'm not sure if it's something that you were intending or was just something that came from you. You use Vermeers, the lace maker, which is it's a profession titled painting, much like the four aspects of the same character that you referred to earlier. Taxi. And I understand you originally wanted to call this drug dealer, but thought the title would be misleading. And I was wondering if there's something about the Vermeer painting and the title of the lace maker, but also the fact that the light in this film, especially when you control it like in Susan Sarandon's apartment, was very yellow. I mean, it was that real Vermeer yellow on that.
Well,
Bruce Johnson.
I don't know if they've redecorated it in the last 15 years, 20 years at the Paramount, but every room looked like that. It had a lace maker in it. And I wanted to, one of the reasons I wanted the set is because I wanted to start out high so I could reveal the lace and have her sort of peering over their shoulders. And the only way you could do that was have a crane pointed straight down on a hothead. We had hotheads already at that time, on a hothead, and then come back around. There was a painter, Georges Latour, who had these paintings with these people with very, very pale skin. And I love the fact that Willem was so white and skeletal. And I don't know whether we actually talked about this or he just was, and whether we did anything to make him look more so, but he does. He looks like has that kind of paper skin like you get food in Chinese restaurants.
Another question, right there.
Why does John keep putting on cologne at the end of the film?
Just an idiosyncrasy. I mean, these are people who believe in luck. And so they have their share of talismans, and it's under the whole theme of luck and grace running through the whole thing, which is maybe, well, probably even too heavy. But it's all this sort of, is it luck or is it providence? When the song starts out right at the beginning, I give my soul to grace, but I believe the world's on fire. And so it's just one of the many talismans that I used in this world of am I lucky, And luck becomes the code word for grace. And so he is sort of dispensing in a way, and that's why he wears that sort of scarf like a mitre, like he's taking confession from David Spade, who's trying to explain the theology of Coke.
In the back.
Yeah, I have a question. I see the garbage strike was like playing in the background. Was it a real garbage strike at the time you were filming, or Was that a part of your plan?
No, and it was probably, it was in the script. It was a little heavy-handed maybe. In retrospect, I probably wouldn't even bother with it. But we lugged around a lot of empty black bags of styrofoam. You know.
They would try to remove it. They would come.
Yeah, I just had a question. You know, crime was pretty high when you probably shot this compared to now. Was that in your mind when you wrote the script? You know?
No, not really. I mean, crime was pretty high when I wrote Taxi Driver. But it was not so much. I don't remember it being a big issue. What was the big issue, which is not in the script, of course, is the transformation of the drug culture because of crack.
From powder to crack?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and to changing of something that was, you know, as we now know, bad for you, but at the time really wasn't thought of as being so bad. And then by the time crack rolled around, everybody became very, very aware that it was not a, you know, a victimless drug.
The drug was cocaine, obviously.
Well, crack is
primarily. I mean, what he was
crack
selling.
is cocaine.
No, I mean what he was selling.
Yeah,
Latour was selling that one drug.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I sent to Willem out with the real dealer who used to be my dealer. And this was based on three people: a girl named Cynthia and John, and I forget the third guy's name. Anyway, they had a business, very, very much like this business, and she was going into cosmetics. The only difference between her and Susan was that she was about 260, 270 pounds. So I hooked Willem up with this guy, John, and they went out on their rounds. He went out with them for a night, you know, delivering drugs around town. And so I said to him afterward, I said, how'd it go? He said, well, it went fine. I said, well, did you get recognized? He said twice. He said, maybe 3 times. Like, I think they recognized me. And they looked right at me. And John would always say, this is my friend Bill. And, but they were afraid that if they said my name, they wouldn't get their drugs. So they just shut up.
I think we have time for one more. Sure, in the back.
Could you comment a little bit more about the recurring paintings? Whether are they metaphorical or are they inspirations for?
Yeah, there's well, some friends of mine helped out there. David Sally have a big new canvas of his. There's a Clemente in there. No, I think they were just attempts to make it more visually interesting and to exploit friendships. I should have bought those paintings. I would have made more than I made on the film.
Well, sure.
Thank you. We have all these wonderful larger-than-life male protagonists. Do you have any desire to do female protagonists?
Well, I've done a couple. I did a film on Patty Hearst, and I did a film, Cat People, with Nastasia Kinski. I don't get offered them, and for the most part, you know, I'm running around with some ideas now. I've been thinking now of writing an old guy movie, since I'm about to be an old guy, or am an old guy. I've been looking for metaphors for an old guy movie, and but it never occurred to me to write an old gal movie.
Maybe an old guy movie is an old gal.
Yeah, maybe the metaphor for the old guy is an old gal.
Well, thanks a lot.